Well, they say that you're a fool. You believe in magic. I'm Paranormal Pete, and I'm on a journey to seek answers to the questions that have crossed all of our minds. What happens to us when we die? Is there an afterlife? I'm a regular guy who discovered the gift of psychic mediumship in my 30s. My passion for history and the unknown have put me right here, right now. My mantra for anything paranormal is, we don't know much and anything is possible. Join me as we find our way through the stories, evidence, and experiences of the paranormal and beyond in search of answers, even if that leads to more questions. Are you with me? Greetings and welcome to the Paranormal Pete Show. We're here on WLTK-DB, your place for all things paranormal, cryptid, metaphysical, true crime, all kinds of great stuff. We're here on, August 1st. Can you believe it? My gosh, I almost wanted to say a swear word there, but time is flying by so fast. Whether you're having fun or not, remember the old saying, time flies when you're having fun? Well, having fun or not, I think time flies no matter what, right? But welcome to August, everybody. We're here with episode 107, and got a very special guest tonight coming back to the show. I've had her on before. Miss Joanne Clarkson's coming on, so I can't wait to get into. We got a bunch of exciting stuff to talk about tonight, and an event to announce. And if you follow me on Facebook or go check my website regularly at portgambleparanormal.com, you'll see it. So it's there now, but we're going to get into it here in a little bit. Big shout out to Todd Bates, host of Haunted Voices and station owner here at WLTK-DB. He's on the ones and twos. It's hard to run it without him, so thankful to have him there. And if you like the intro song, that's my band Steady Rock Cosmonaut. A song called Magic. Just check out steadyrockcosmonaut.com. And we had our first gig since last November. We had this last Friday down in Silverdale, Washington, if you're familiar with Kitsap Peninsula. And we got to play with this amazing backdrop of water, and the moon was coming in. It was great. It was so much fun. And if you came out, thanks a lot for coming. And stay tuned for more gigs coming up. I've got a ghost walk coming up August 11th. It's my last summer one, and second year doing a summer ghost walks, and it's been a lot of fun. So hopefully you can make it out. I think I've got about 10 tickets left for that. It's a 3-hour tour here in historic Port Gamble, just across Puget Sound from Seattle on the Kitsap Peninsula. But if you go to portgambleparanormal.com, right there on my hat, if you're watching, you can get tickets for that. I think I have about 10 spots left. And then I'll be posting my fall season, tour season, probably in the next 2 weeks for October through April, basically. So keep your eyes out for that. Always fun doing tons of tours in October. The town looks really pretty here. The leaves turn these amazing colors, and it looks like a true New England town in the fall here. So it's a lot of fun, and plus the ghosts don't come out until October, right? So that's when we do a lot of tours, because that's when they come out. They don't come out in the light either. It's only in the dark, right? But we have a lot of fun. If you go to portgambleparanormal.com, you'll be able to see those soon. Coming up is the OC Paracon down in Anaheim. A good friend of the show, Henry San Miguel, host of Paranormal Perceptions, putting that one on. It's October 6th through 8th down in Anaheim. And they've got a great lineup of speakers. If you want to check it out or travel, or maybe you live locally in the area, it's ocparacon.com. That's October 6th through 8th. So I had a great time last year, really good experience, met some great people. So definitely go check it out. Then there's the Oregon Ghost Conference coming up March 22nd through the 24th. And that's in Seaside, Oregon, on the coast there. If you've never been, you're missing out. go to OregonGhostConference.com. It's a great conference. You can meet so many people there. The Oregon Ghost Conference and the Port Gamble Ghost Conference, I think, have always kind of complemented each other. You get different things from each one, but there is kind of a theme of connectivity with other people, and a lot of classes and a lot of opportunities to learn. So that's a great one. OregonGhostConference.com. You got time to plan for that, and you also have time to plan for the 14th annual Port Gamble Ghost Conference coming up. Veterans Day weekend, November 10th through 12th. And this year, for the first time, I've been saying this, we normally only have one venue to work with in Port Gamble, but this year we've got two. And so that opened up a lot of opportunities to try some different things and just kind of how we do it. We're going to do more panel discussions this year, which will be great. Those are always really there's a lot of value to those, I think, because you get so many different perspectives in one sitting. So really excited for that. Go to portgamble.com, go to the events tab, and you'll see the Ghost Conference there. And not only that, but my guest tonight is one of the speakers and teachers at the conference. And she came last year. We're going to ask her about her experience last year and what they're looking forward to this year. But I'll go ahead and introduce my guest tonight. Joanne M. Clarkson has practiced psychic mediumship, if I can read here, all her life. Her grandmother, psychic Esther Monson, taught her to read playing cards when she was a child. As a young teen, wanting a skill no one else in the family possessed, Joanne taught herself palmistry from books in the public library. She began giving public readings in her late teens. By reading hands, the shapes, lines, and special markings, Joanne helps people discover and affirm tendencies and talents and find purpose in their lives. She uses tarot, which she now prefers to playing cards because of their powerful history and imagery, to answer questions about situations and relationships in clients' lives now. Over the past year, she has delved further into astrology and now feels confident retrieving birth charts. Joanne also practices mediumship, carrying messages from beings now in spirit. The death of her father when she was 10, as with many children who lose loved ones at a young age, opened her heart to worlds beyond this one. After caring for her mother through a long illness, Joanne left a long career as a professional librarian and became a registered nurse specializing in hospice. Her work with the dying and their courageous caregivers made her connection to spirit even stronger. Now retired and living in Port Townsend, Joanne gives spiritual readings and workshops both in person, over the phone, and using Zoom. She loves to help others unlock their higher consciousness, meet their guides, and expand their knowledge of empowering cosmic connections. Her book, There's Always a Miracle, True Stories of Life Before and After Death, details many powerful experiences from her personal life and hospice work. And you can check everything out that she does, this busy lady, even though she says she's retired, at joannethepsychic.com. And we'll put that in the comments here. Let's give a big show welcome, Joanne Clarkson. Woo! Hey, Joanne, I'm exhausted after reading all the different things that you do. It's amazing. And you say you're retired. I don't believe it.
I didn't put in there that we dance Argentine tango. That's what another thing Jim and I do. Keeps us young.
Right on. And folks listening out there, her husband Jim's going to be on the show here in a couple weeks, and we're going to be talking UFOs, UAPs, everything UFO related with all the new stuff that's coming out. So we'll be talking to Jim about that here in a couple weeks. But I didn't know you were a dancer as well. That's great.
I'm not exactly a dancer. We dance well together doing the tango for 70 years.
That's all that matters. That's, it's subjective, right? You just have to, I feel the same. I got two left feet. I was blessed with two left feet. I can play music, and that's what I would rather do. Just can't dance, and that's just fine with me. Well, so what have you been up to lately? It's been a while since we had you on the show. Now you do readings at Phoenix Rising in Port Townsend. So anybody out there familiar with Port Townsend, look up that place. So you do reading. How often are you doing readings there?
Once a month. I do one weekend a month. That's just about right. We have
Nice.
it's a beautiful store. It's like a
Yeah.
metaphysical destination for people. Jill has had that store since 1987. And it has a beautiful room upstairs, very private, beautiful energy where I do the readings. It's one of the best settings, public settings I've ever read
Yeah.
in. So,
Yeah. I just got a pendulum from there
yeah.
a few weeks ago, and that's something I'm just kind of trying to learn about, work with. I feel like it's kind of like dowsing rods. You kind of got to use them for a while, get your energy with them. But great shop there. And do you accept new clients usually, or is it kind of like a normal clientele that you are meeting with there?
No, it's new people all the time because the store makes the schedule and takes the money and all that. So they post the schedule for the psychics on the website, and you can call starting the Thursday before to
Okay.
set aside a spot, or you can just drop in. A lot of people are drop-ins,
Nice.
and it is very nice. A lot of people that are my regular clients, obviously, I read regularly in other ways. So,
Yeah. Oh,
but I
yeah.
do have repeaters at the store too.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I love
Well, we
reading.
got someone saying hello, Kelsey. Thanks for watching, saying she's new here. Well, welcome. Anybody who wants to say hello out there, go ahead, and I'll do my best to get it up on the screen for you. And if there's any questions throughout the show, feel free to ask, anything that we're talking about, and we'll try and do our best to answer for you. Facebook says Facebook user saying hello, whoever you are. If you want your name to appear in the comments, then go to StreamYard's Facebook page and allow the permissions there, and then your name will show up there. So, but welcome to the show. I wanted to ask you this because it's something I think, every medium has to deal with this, and so I was just kind of curious how it works for you. Do you find it more of a challenge or easier to read for somebody multiple times? You know what I mean? Is it harder to do that? Does it get harder to do that? Or do you just have a full-on new approach every single time?
Well, how should I say? The best thing I can do for someone is to teach them how to contact directly with their loved one. I don't think they should have to pay me $50 every couple of months to talk to people they've lost. Well, really, seriously.
Yeah.
And so usually I do a reading and see what we get and see if I can capture some symbols or some ways I think they might connect. And I have a little handout I give people about ways they can themselves connect because it's hard. People are so worried, as you and I are, about how should I say, trying too hard, or you want to contact them so badly, you see things that aren't real, but they are real, and you just have to learn to believe yourself. And
Yeah.
so yeah, yes, I get repeaters, and I don't mind. And then of course, like I had a weird experience about 3 weeks ago. Um, a relative of a good friend, the good friend had given her relative a gift certificate for Christmas for a
Mm-hmm.
reading that she had never redeemed. So I get this call about 10 o'clock at night, and this person lives on the East Coast. And this person said, "Can you do a reading for me?" And I said, "Well, we can make an appointment." She said, "No, right now." And I said, "Well, I guess." We were just watching TV, nothing, no big deal. And so
Yeah.
she wanted him, and I assumed she just wanted like a tarot reading or something to solve a problem. And she said no, she wanted to contact her daughter who was in spirit. And so I always explain to everybody, how should I say, mediums work for the other side. They don't work for clients. I'm sure you feel that way too.
Yeah.
And spirits come through if they want to and if they're able. And especially people that have died somewhat recently, sometimes they're so busy getting settled in their new sphere of
Yeah.
existence, it takes them a while to come back or figure it out,
Yeah.
and people communicate differently. So I said, well, I'll give it a try, but no guarantees. And I explained to her, I'll reach out. And I have, we can talk about this a little bit more if you want to, but I've been blessed in the last few years with a spirit, one of my spirit guides, someone actually new in this life, who passed away a few years ago, who came to me and offered her services to try to find people on the other side. Or if someone on the other side just needs a medium, sometimes she'll tap me on the shoulder and say, here's somebody with a message. Do you want to hear it? And so I asked, her name is Dee. I asked Dee too. She'd look around and see if she could find this person. But I didn't get that person. I got this man. And I never met this person I was reading for. I really know very, very little about this person.
Yeah.
But this man, and I'm not necessarily like a clairvoyant. I tend to have impressions of people, feelings. I tend to hear things. But I knew when this man came through, he was the handsomest man. He was the best looking guy. At least the person I was reading for had thought so. He had curly hair, a big smile, a real teaser, that sort of guy.
Yeah.
And so I started describing this man, and she said, "Oh my God, that's my second husband, Jack." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, that's Jack. That's Jack." He said so, and then he related a couple of personal experiences they had. Luckily, not terribly intimate or embarrassing, but with some nice experiences. And she was so happy. And he told her that actually it was their daughter. He had been in spirit for a while. He died quite a few years ago. And that she was okay, thought she was okay, but not able to communicate like I thought. So, but we got a real good visit with this one guy. And she was so happy by the end of our little experience there. Her comment was at the end, "When can we do this again?" And I said, "No, give it a little time. This takes a lot of energy."
Yeah. Maybe give time so the daughter can be able to come through the next time.
Yeah, but that was fun, and it ended up being positive. Although we didn't get the person she really kind of wanted to speak to, but you never know.
But
the spirits, yeah,
that's how it works. I've had readings before where it was like the person's in-law, that came through, and they're like, "I didn't think they liked me," but then they spend the whole reading with them because they've got a lot to say, or there's guidance there that's in between all the things they're saying, and you never just quite know. We got someone here. Looks like they know you. Got Deborah Perry.
Deborah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for watching. And we got we got Kelly S here. Hello, Pete and Joanne, enjoying the show. Well, thanks for watching. And Kelsey was saying she'd love to connect from spirit if Joanne can connect. Well, this isn't really a reading show, but if something comes through, Joanne, go ahead and stop me and let me know. But otherwise, I would suggest go to joannethepsychic.com and you can get an appointment with her. And that way you can get all of her attention. So, but if something comes through and if I get something, we'll blast it on through here. Facebook user, does it show my name now? Not yet. You're working on it. Got Becky saying hello. Hi, Becky. Thanks for watching. Got a question from my last week guest and also speaker at the Port Gamble Ghost Conference coming up here, Dr. Kelly. She said, with so many people wanting readings, how do you retain your energy for the next one?
Well, I don't do a reading for everybody that wants one. At the store, I know that's what we read from 12 to 5 at half-hour intervals, although people can pay for an hour. And during the summer, I'm busy the whole time. And I don't like to have to watch time that closely, but I have to at the store. So I've tried various methods to be sure I stay on track. If I don't, they come up and tell me, "You're not on track. We can't get behind." That's true, because once you do that, people get really irritated too if they made it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so at the store, I'm just kind of prepared to spend that much energy. I kind of rest up the day before, and I know that the day after, I usually read 2 days in a row. So then like the Monday, I don't schedule much. And then since I am retired and we have a fun life, I'm, how should I say, kind of selective. At certain times, if I'm doing other things or just don't feel the time is right, I have other people I recommend if I'm not available. But I try to keep it real because it does take a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It does. I've done it for so long. A lot of it, if I'm just doing a basic palm reading and tarot reading for somebody and I know it's going to take a half hour, I already know, I know how to pace, I know what to say. I try to hit the high points, answer the question. And it's, I wouldn't say it's routine. Everyone is different. And some of them just blow you away. And, not totally what you don't expect.
Yeah.
And things come true. At the store, I don't do very many, how should I say? I don't advertise actually mediumship readings so much because it's really hard to get the whole thing done in a half hour.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to cut it short if we got something good going. But I still try to look at people. And if I see something or someone, I do mention it.
Yeah.
Or I tell them that we can schedule something for another time. So,
Yeah. Mediumship definitely takes a little bit longer. I mean, most of the time. Sometimes it's like, bam, it hits you in the face and you're off and running. But, yeah. And another thing I would add to Dr. Kelly's question here is staying hydrated, drinking lots of water.
yes, I
That's,
totally agree with that. And moving around, I get up and I just walk around the room a couple of times, sometimes between classes. I can't, my back bothers me and I can't just sit all day long. So I get up and I
yeah.
stretch. I walk. Well, really. And it's
Yeah.
so intense. Sometimes you're just sitting there and you don't realize how tense you are
Yeah.
until you're done. So,
Especially if it's a heavy reading, you got to get up and move around. But yeah, drinking lots of water is like one thing that helps keep
yes, I
me
agree with
going.
that.
And I'm usually not doing like, more than 2 a day.
Mhm.
So, but sometimes it can get one reading can wipe you out for the day,
Right. That's
depending
right.
on what happens. And I've got another good friend of the show. We got Debbie Romero, Transcend with Debbie. Hey, thanks for watching. I got to connect you too, Joanne, you
Okay.
and Debbie.
She looks very cool.
She is really cool. She's got a show and she does all kinds of stuff. Debbie, we got to get you guys connected, but thanks for watching. And Renee checking in. Hi, Pete and Joanne. Thanks for
Oh, hi, Renee.
watching.
Yes. Yeah, I know her.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Dr. Kelly saying thank you. So yeah.
I did watch most of Dr. Kelly's show. Somebody called me and I got interrupted at the very end, but that was very cool.
Yeah, gosh, she's experienced a lot. But yeah, keep the questions coming if you got them.
Yeah.
So we're going to announce something here after the break that's coming up soon. But we're so excited to have you back at the Port Gamble Ghost Conference. You and
Oh,
Jim, it was such a fun experience. You guys added so much to the conference last year.
well,
It
it
was
was,
it,
you
w-
know,
it was cool.
it was amazing, Pete. No, Jim has spoken at UFO conferences for 25 years. Really, we've been all over the country. Even he's even spoken in Paris once. And so we go to a lot of conferences, and that really, I think, was the friendliest, most positive conference we were ever. Everybody was so nice and so supportive, and offered so much of themselves all the time. I learned more even than I taught, and way more. And then, do we break at 8:30?
Yeah.
Can
You
I
got
tell
time?
them?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And then we have a great question
Okay.
for somebody here that I think we can give a good answer. But yes, share your experience because it's a great one.
Okay, I wanted to, I don't know what I expected. I don't think either Jim or I exactly knew what to expect because the
Right.
UFO conferences are very different. So I taught a class and it was about meeting spirit guides and whatnot. And I was surprised how many people came because a lot of people didn't know who I was. But it was the best class, the best energy. Everybody participated. It was just really cool. So at the end of the class, this woman came up to say hi, and she hadn't talked a whole lot during the class, but she was very attentive. And she said, well, we're Ladybug sisters. I kind of looked at her and she says, we both have a special connection to ladybugs. And she pointed down and she was wearing pants with ladybugs all over them. And I was literally blown away because I had told nobody, not even Jim, about my connection to ladybugs. And they started when my dad died when I was 10. And he was in the Pacific during World War II. And he had a lot of Army buddies he kept in touch with.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was his friend Steve, but Steve was my godfather when I was born, and then he moved back east. So I had never met him until my father was dying and he came out and was with my dad. And then my dad crossed over. And Steve bought me a ladybug locket in memory of my dad, and I still have it. And so ladybugs had always been like my little kind of spirit animal, but they were very, very personal. And honestly, I had never told anybody. So how this lady just knew it. She knew about my ladybugs. I mean, so now I'm wearing my ladybug earrings tonight. So, but
Nice.
I didn't wear the pendant, but it just absolutely blew me away that somebody, this person, this perfect stranger could pick up on something that was so intensely personal and powerful for me. But that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, did it just kind of, I mean, for a psychic medium, for somebody who's been doing things for, for many years, all the different experiences you have, for a medium to have an experience of
Yes.
something come through, I mean, it's just profound.
Oh
Like
yeah,
what,
yeah.
I mean, what'd you kind of take away from that? I mean, once you kind of walked away and digested it a little bit, what do you think you took away from that?
Well, that we're deeply spiritually connected to a whole lot of people that we have even no idea that we're connected to. And we meet them along the way when we're supposed to meet them.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And we got Becky saying, so funny that she's been getting visited from ladybugs and dragonflies a lot lately for the past month.
Yes.
Maybe there's something for her there too. That's
Very
crazy.
powerful. Awesome
And
ladybugs.
so this year you're going to be doing a presentation on ghost touch, right? And talk about that a little bit.
Well, hands are such powerful symbols. And if you look like on paintings, on a lot of the Native American pictographs, they sign everything with their hand.
Yeah.
There's so many hand symbols, something throughout time. And like I said, for me, I'm not really clairvoyant. I see things, but more like snatches of things, not vividly like you and a lot of people see. But I have a lot of feelings like that guy, the handsome man. I just knew this was an incredibly handsome man, even though I really couldn't see him.
Yeah.
Or I get shivers or sensations, or spirit has certain touches for me when I do or don't do things that I'm really supposed to be doing. Because, as you know, the hardest part of being a medium is being completely open and only saying what the universe wants you to say, not what Joanne the normal person thinks or Joanne the mother would say or any of that.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of tells, and they both have to do with touch in various ways.
Oh, very interesting. And the class, and you're doing a class on palmistry,
On
right?
palmistry, yeah. So I can talk
Yeah.
for 2 minutes. Okay. So, um, well, palmistry, tarot is a lot. I don't know if I want to say easier, kind of though, because the beautiful images guide you so much in the ancient meaning and stuff. And you can get a book of deck of tarot cards and just lay out a few cards and read the little book and actually do a fairly good fortune
Yeah.
with the right intent. Palmistry is a little more complicated, although I've taught palmistry classes and I can teach basic things pretty quickly. But I've been led this past year to realizing there's way more to reading palms than just knowing what the lifeline means. For me, it is really a psychic and even a mediumship practice. And I can teach people, I learned reflexology too, which helps. You can do reflexology in the hands as well as the feet. But there are energy points in your hand that you can actually touch to summon different energies that you want to manifest in your life. So I started writing a book called Psychic Palmistry, and it really stalled out. And I got very frustrated because I don't, there are thousands of books on how to read palms on the internet and in bookstores. There's a
Yeah.
couple of dozen down at Phoenix Rising, and they're fine. You can memorize this, but it doesn't work just to memorize stuff, as you know. There has to be something else. So, um, last time I read at Phoenix Rising, a lady came in. I did an hour reading for her. She had some really heavy questions, but then her daughter also had a reading, and the daughter just kind of came in because her mother was there. I looked in this girl's hands and I said, "My God, you're a psychic medium." And she was. She did a lot of mediumship work and all these amazing. So we spent. I could only spend a half hour with her, but she made an appointment and she came out and we spent an afternoon together. And what a powerful person! And she gave me the exact insights I needed to get going on my book and have it be what I want it to be.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
I don't know if it's going to be ready in time for the ghost conference or not. We'll see. And then publishing just takes a while, so we'll see what happens. But
Yeah. Well,
I'll
I'm
have I'll have
interested.
I'll have good handouts anyway. That part is done already. So
Yeah. I'm definitely interested in getting a copy of that. That sounds really interesting. Palmistry has always, been interesting to me, but it's not something I've ever gotten into. And I kind of hear as you're talking there that it's much like tarot in the sense that you don't just look at the book, right? You don't just look at, it's the imagery. And you got to
imagery.
trust what you feel is going on with, whatever part of the hand it is. And so I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that book when that comes out. And we're at our station break here, folks, but stick around. We've got some exciting stuff to talk about, but I got a question from one of the viewers that I think we can both tackle. So we'll see you on the other side of the break. We're here on WLTK-DB.com. I'm your host, Peter Obey, on the Paranormal Pete Show with very special guest and good friend of the show, Joanne Clarkson. We'll be right back.
If you're a fan of the paranormal world, then you'll love WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Talk shows bringing you the latest on everything paranormal, cryptozoological, metaphysical, true crime, psychic readings, and more. The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.
All right. Welcome back to the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter Obey, with special guest Joanne, the psychic, Joanne Clarkson. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back on, by the way. It's nice to have you back on the show, and I'm looking forward to your cohort there, Jim, coming on here in a couple weeks. And we're here on WL.
I was very
Yeah,
excited to be here again.
good deal. We're here on WLTK-DB.com. And before Joanne and I talk about a very special event coming up, September 16th. Okay, hang on. So we got a question here, and it's something I've been asked before, and I'm sure you have as well. So the person couldn't get their name on there, so but she says her name is Lynn, and she lost her brother-in-law last year to suicide, and I'm very sorry to hear that. He was my best friend, but I was told their spirit will never find peace because of suicide. Is that true? What's your take on it, Joanne?
That is absolutely not true.
Yeah.
Absolutely not true. Sometimes people just know when it's time to end their life. It's a very difficult time for the people left behind. And I wanted to say, I know for sure that's not true because of Travis. Our daughter's husband committed suicide. It was a very sad thing and very complicated, as most of these things are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were very, very young when they got married, and he had a lot of problems. He had Tourette's syndrome, which was hard for him all his life. He didn't swear so much, but he had tics, which were a little odd. And he'd done some incredible things in his life. Travis's big claim to fame was he had a lot of odd jobs. He worked in the woods, and he worked on a crabbing boat in the Bering Sea. And a storm came up, and if you go overboard, you're dead. That water is freezing cold. You can't last.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And one of his fellow people on the ship got pulled overboard with a rope, and Travis jumped in and saved him.
Wow.
Yeah, that was amazing. It took incredible courage, and it was really that he managed to do that. So Travis has come through to a number of us a number of times. And he pops up, and he was a real character. We really, really liked him. He was just a very likable person.
Yeah.
And he is a very likable ghost. He'd appeared to her sister's significant other and scared the living daylights out Kind of a long story, but so I went down to where he had seen a ghost, and I was pretty sure it was. I said, Travis, what the, what are you doing here? And they were going through. He says, Joanne, I just want to help. I just want to help. And I said, well, let's.
Let's help in a different way.
He's come to me several times to say that, and I know he still watches over. Alicia's in a very good other relationship. He gosh, I think that was 8 or 9 years ago now that he passed. But
Oh, geez, sorry
9
about
years,
that.
actually 9 years in December, will be gone. But he still watches over Alicia and Riley, and he's a good guy. But he is at peace, and he's doing his thing, and he's just much more comfortable in spirit than he ever was in his body.
Yeah.
It's true of me.
I totally agree that it's not true that someone can't find peace because of suicide. And I've had people come through in readings that had committed suicide, and kind of like what you just ended with, they much happier in spirit form than in the physical life here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Lynn, don't lose hope, and just know that in your brother-in-law's own time, he will be able to settle and kind of go through what I call the soul's car wash, the light. And he'll go there when he's ready and wash all those things that held him down in life off of him. And so I would say just don't lose hope, and keep your eye out for signs, from him. And I just don't think it's a true thing. And I don't think anybody could point 100% one way or the other that someone can't find peace because of suicide. I just don't think that's how it works. So Lynn, don't lose hope for any of that. Keep the good memories, hear his laugh, remember what his hug felt like. If did he have a certain aftershave, or remember those things, because that's good for them on the other side to have those acknowledgments. So as long as you keep acknowledging him and drawing on what you learned in life from him, if you can draw on those things and hear his laugh, he can be there with you, anytime, really. So don't lose hope. Hope that's helpful. Excuse me. I thought allergy season was over.
It's the dust. We are now in dust season.
Gosh, it's getting me. We got another listener, and I have it saying hello, and she says, can we ask about living people? We're not really doing readings, but fire away. We'll see what we got here. We'll see what we got. But let's get to this, because we got about 20 plus minutes left. And Lynn's saying, thank you so much. I was afraid to hear the answer, but I feel so much better. Excellent. You go with what feels right, Lynn, to you. If everyone else is saying one thing, but you're feeling another, go with what you feel, and let that guide you. But so Joanne and I are excited to announce that we are teaming up to offer an afternoon and an evening event. And it's going to be a palmistry and mediumship workshops in the afternoon. And then after a dinner break, we're going to be doing a group reading for everybody who attends the workshop. And that's coming up on Saturday, September 16th at the historic ... and haunted Masonic Lodge in Port Gamble, which is one of the oldest west of the Mississippi. It's an old lodge. And so we're going to get to do some workshops in the afternoon. It starts at 1:30 and with palmistry. And, Joanne, talk a little bit, you mentioned a little bit, what are some things that you'd be looking to impart on people in the palmistry part of the workshop?
Well, I can teach in an hour or so basic shapes of the hands, what the main lines are, what they mean. And then I have this little quick exercise I do. There are 5 major signs you can look for in a palm that tell you whether or not you're psychic. People like that one. There are other things you can identify with palmistry too, but that one, and probably most people that come to a workshop will have some sort of intuitive spark or something. So and then you can actually literally hold on to your hand in certain places to intensify or ignite that, or that's kind of fun too. So
yeah, that's going to be great. And a lot of it's self-discovery, right?
oh,
You're
hugely self-discovery. And your hands
yeah,
change over time. They really do. Mine have. And it's fascinating to watch that. And then I learn new things every day from reading more palms, comparing more palms.
yeah,
And it's fascinating because it's so completely individual. No two
yeah,
are the same.
yeah.
And what should I say? There are some signs. There are some things that well, a thing like there's a murderer's thumb, and there's some kind of like old kind of superstition things, and
Ooh, that's cool.
yes and no,
I
but
mean, if you don't have it, it's cool.
but I really, one thing I've taught myself through time too is how should I say? There's no bad hand. Well, most hands are. There are some things that make people struggle more, I
Yeah,
think.
sure.
And and I never see anything bad. People are, tarot too. Oh my God, they're no. Everybody's different, and people like it when you can see their suffering and acknowledge it. A lot of people suffer in silence. In fact, a quick story: as I was working on my book, I got to thinking about exactly, why did I choose palmistry? This is a long time ago. I was like 12 and 13 years old, and I'm very old now. And so it's like that's like 60 years ago, long time. And so I got to think, how did this come about? And then I had this odd flash of memory. The first time I ever read for somebody that was not in the family, my mama taught school. She taught fifth grade for like 40 years. And one day, for some reason, I was sitting at her school in the teacher's lounge waiting for her to get done with something so we could go home. And this woman walks in. She was a new teacher at my mom's school, and she looked kind of upset. And for some reason, I asked her if I could read her palm. I was probably maybe 15 years old, and I looked at this lady's palm, and they were the most broken, sorrowful. Oh my God. I looked at her palms, and she had been severely abused as a child. I'm sure of that. She'd had nothing but failed relationships since then. It was just really a sad hand. And so I looked at her and I told her, even then I could phrase things pretty well. I didn't say, I said, you really had a sad childhood. And she just burst into tears, and we both there just sat and cried together. But then I could also show her all the beautiful things in her hand. She was a gifted teacher, clearly. And because she'd had sad experiences herself, it made her much more empathetic to the little kids that maybe acted out because there was a reason they were doing that and stuff like that. So after we got done, she felt much better. But that was such an affirming thing for me because I knew that I could do it. I could see something in people's hands, and I could bring it to them in a way that would make it affirming, and then they could go on and do something powerful with it in their lives. So that was a very cool experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the coolest things I learned from last time you were on the show, you had read, I'd sent you some pictures of my palms, and just that your lines change. I didn't realize that the lines change.
Not
like
drastically, but they can break, they can go back together, they can change the slope, you can add a new line like that.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting that even a small change like that is what happens in your physical life can determine that.
On your hands, yes.
And can kind of tell your future, right? What's going on now can kind of tell
where you're headed.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting. I had not even thought about that before, and it seems like such a simple thing to know. But anyways, I learned that's one of the coolest things I learned last time you were on the show was about that. Okay, so we got palmistry workshop starting out the day on September 16th, and this whole thing is $40, and you get pretty much
what a bargain, Pete.
Most of the day, right? And so the second part of the workshop is mediumship development, and I always look forward in these type of settings to give that people hopefully give people an aha moment of, not having like a psychic experience per se, but being able to open themselves, and feeling something. And that's what I love, in psychic development stuff, is having somebody that's just learning or just curious, and what's going on with me, that sort of thing, to have that moment of feeling something. And then you can take and grow so much with that. And plus learning, about how to protect yourself, which I'll be honest, I don't. And which is probably not too smart, but shielding and being able to ground. I feel like so many people, and what do you think? It seems like there's so many people having awakening experiences as
Oh,
time
yes.
goes on, right?
Yeah.
And I think what precedes that is empath, and taking empathy and putting it on steroids, basically.
Yes.
And I think that's always kind of a precursor. But so grounding is like such an important thing to learn, how to kind of get into your place that works for you, because what precedes psychic stuff, I feel, is empath, and you're soaking up everybody else's junk, especially in a big box grocery store, retail store. I don't know about you, but for me, I feel everybody else's bad stuff. And if you don't know how to get rid of it and you're not conscious of it, it can affect you in many different ways. And I feel like so many people have physical ailments, mental ailments, things like that, but it's, because they're an empath, and they're pretty much living as like a Sherpa of bad energy of everybody else's stuff, right? Yeah, think about it. Have you seen somebody I've seen many people that, I've had issues going on. I'm like, well, you need to clean yourself off, because you're like a Sherpa here with everyone else's stress.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
sitting
The whole
on
world.
you.
Oh, God. There's so much going on. That's why we don't watch the news too often, or, some of these things. It's just,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's one of your favorite things that you liked about doing psychic development? Because we're going to be, hopefully helping people open up, or maybe advance. Maybe they've kind of started, but how do you get in deeper? What's your favorite part of doing that?
ascending into my higher self. And I have a little meditation I do for myself that I'm more than willing to share with people. I have a couple of them, actually,
Yeah.
but I have one that's my favorite. And then sometimes I expand it to do actually a cleansing of my psychic cleansing, just to be sure I didn't pick up anything. Because sometimes you don't know. Sometimes I'm just a little bit out of sorts or something. I'm not sure why. And I realized taking that on and I shouldn't have, or I got irritated at, you got to let it go, let it go, let it go. And I've gotten way better at that. And I am, look, you have kind of, hold up your hands again. I want to see the tips of your fingers. Put them down a little bit. Yeah, you got pretty rounded, but your fingers are more pointed than mine. Your first finger, compared to your other fingers, is a little pointy. Mine are all very rounded. I'm a cooperator. The thing I have to watch sometimes, I'm a pleaser. And how should I say? Not all psychics are mediums, but pretty much all mediums are psychics. Psychic to me is like you're reading people. You're a really intense empath, sort of. And a medium is you really honestly work for ghosts. And so I always got to be sure I'm not reading the person and what they want, rather than reading a spirit. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say something else about that. I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So yes, I'm an empath, but I'm not a person that picks up. People with very pointy first fingers pick up energy. They're like energy magnets. Most people just cannot stand to go into huge crowds. I'm not. I have extremely rounded fingers. I'm a cooperator. I like to get along. I will, but I'm not going to pick up random crap. That's just. Can I say that on the radio?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can say whatever you want.
Random negative vibes.
Yeah.
with people, not randomly. In fact, it's
Sure.
so funny. I still have, especially I have one relative that I think is convinced that I can read her mind. She won't let me, whenever she goes like that with her hands, so I can't see her head. And she'll feel like she's going to wear a tinfoil hat because do you think I can read her mind? Why in the world would I want to run around reading all the weird thoughts in people's heads? And
Yeah.
no, I can't read your mind.
Yeah.
I could if I tried real hard, but I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
But so can a lot of other people. I mean, most
Yeah.
people are more of an open book than they realize.
Yeah. Well, we won't be teaching people how to read other people's minds. That's for sure. But this is so exciting. And, you and I haven't taught together before, but I just know that we're just going to like build off of each other the
I
whole
really
time. That's
like.
just kind of how it always is,
No, it's really good to teach with a partner that you respect and trust because you do bounce ideas. There's more energy. If you
Yeah.
connect, it creates even more energy than just you yourself generate. So that
Yeah.
was one of the cool things about the Ghost Conference, like we were talking about. The energy there was so huge and so positive that it was just really, really cool.
Yeah, there's a great group of speakers and classes this year and special events, and I'm just so looking forward to it. And this class, I think, is going to be a great kickoff to that because hopefully we can get people to come to the conference and learn even more. So we've got this palmistry workshop followed by a mediumship workshop, and then there'll be a dinner break, and then from the lodge room, we're going to be doing a group reading for all the attendees there. And if anybody's ever attended, a large group reading or even a small group reading, they can be a lot of fun. And you never know who's going to come through. You never know what's going to come through. So it's Joanne's job and my job to kind of, have some bedside manner if anything crazy is coming through. But
one really weird thing is what's been coming through for me a whole lot lately are animals. And I have a cat. We've always had a pet, but I don't really consider myself an animal person. There are people that are just totally about animals.
Sure.
But for some reason, even when I randomly see spirits around people lately, it's almost always animals.
And I've been getting that too more myself.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I mean, they're wonderful. And usually our animals, we bond very closely with our animal friends. And so their spirits are part of us. And they can be our protectors and guides as well.
Yeah. I think as a medium, if you've got pets and you are, connected with your pets, it's almost like they kind of help you see that side of everything too, and not just human entities, but you're seeing pets too. And for me, it's sometimes I can see pretty clearly like what kind of dog it is or whatever, but sometimes I can't. It just looks like in Peanuts, the kid with all the cloud around him all the time. It kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
But I can tell it's a cat, or that sort of thing. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Well, and Deborah is commenting here. I wonder how consent might work in psychic mediumship experiences. Can you clarify that, Deborah?
You mean consent from the person you're reading or consent from the other side?
Yeah, maybe that. I think that might be what she's getting at. And a spirit, if they don't want to talk, they're not going to come through. They're not going to, they won't do it.
They won't. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've had readings where I see this person that's, not wanting to come through necessarily, but they're just kind of standing there, and usually they got their arms folded. They're closed off. And then come to find out that the person didn't believe in this kind of stuff, it was all a bunch of hooey and da-da-da-da. But then there they are standing there. But then they don't say anything. Sometimes they don't say anything. Consent. She's saying consent from both sides. Yeah. And
that's why I'm very clear when I'm reading for someone that we do not know who will come through. We can certainly ask for a certain person, but we don't know for sure we'll get that person.
Yeah.
I have never gotten anything horrible like a devil or any weird thing or someone that hated you. I mean, I've never, ever had that happen. There's always some sort of a loving spirit, or at least a positive spirit.
I've had some negative ones come through, and those are the ones that wipe you out for the day.
Oh yeah, you have
You
to get
know,
rid of them.
that sort of thing. And it just it depends on, if this person has a message and they got to get something through, they're going to come through. And me and how I work, I feel all the stuff that comes with it,
Yeah.
but for 98% of them are positive, at peace or whatever. But I have had, and mostly it's ones where I see their death. They show me their death, and some of them have been murders.
Oh,
And
I've never had that. Wow.
and I don't like those so much, because that's really intense.
Wow.
Because then you get all the feelings and the adrenaline, and so I try not to. If I feel like something like that's coming through, I usually say I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready. Take a number. But
Actually, the closest I've had to that is, it's in my book, There's Always a Miracle. I did at someone's house when a daughter was caring for her mother, who was actually had a pretty good death. There was really no pain. She was just kind of going to sleep. But the father, the lady's husband, and the woman's father had been a horrible, controlling, terrible man who had died years before. And the daughter told me she could hear him stomping down the hall every night. And he was so angry, and he was stomping so hard that he knocked the pictures off the walls. And I actually thought the woman was kind of deranged from lack of sleep, to be honest, at first, and she was going on and on about
right.
Then we're sitting in the living room, and this rocking chair everything is still. There's no wind. There's no. This rocking chair starts going like this as fast as it can go. And oh my God, she says, "Oh my God, that's him. That's him." And I could feel it. There was a very negative energy in that room that was in that rocking chair, and it wasn't just moving a little. And so I was trying to think, how are we going to do? And so the only thing that popped into my head was, I told Lee, I said, go up there, stand in front of the rocking chair, and tell him to go away and stay away, and just yell as loud as you can. So the lady went over there, stood in front of the rocking chair, and yelled at it to stop, and for him to go away and stay away. And it stopped. Just stopped on a dime.
Wow.
So,
isn't that intense when those negative ones? It's like,
yeah,
it's really intense.
The lady then was able to pass shortly after that. I think she, but we got rid of him. But
crazy.
I had been taught, actually, for everything from bad dreams and whatever. If you really want him to go away, you just stare and just tell him to get out and go away. That sometimes actually works.
Yeah, exactly. Most of what we encounter, paranormal investigators, psychics, mediums, most of what we encounter is human spirits,
right?
Of a human origin. And so we just have to remember that, keep that human connectivity to this spirit, because once there's a ghost or something, our brains put them in this completely other bucket, and we forget that they were a person too. Just like we are.
And for the ghosts, that's a really sweet, Pete.
Yeah, and so it's like, if we can keep that, then it's like, oh yeah, I deal with people on a day-to-day basis, living people, breathers, right? We all deal with people in our everyday lives, and sometimes we deal with jerks, sometimes we deal with really nice people. And so that's what I talk about on my tours and stuff, is don't forget the human element of all this, that ghosts were people once too, and that helps you in some cases to just be like, hey, get out of here. This is my space now. This is my space now. And, if you need to be here, just don't let me know, sort of thing. But I got to say, we're just about out of time here, but
I went fast.
It does go fast, doesn't it? I think the last time I had you on, I was still doing a 2-hour show, maybe. Oh. And so we felt like we had more time. But go to joannethepsychic.com, folks, and you can book readings there. You can see other upcoming events, or when she's going to be at Phoenix Rising in Port Townsend. You can catch her at the Port Gamble Ghost Conference, November 10th through the 12th. And I'm so excited for you and Jim to be there again. Everyone just loved all that you brought to the conference. And so I'm looking forward to that again. And thank you so much for taking time and sharing what you did tonight. And And folks, if you're interested in the workshop that we're putting on Saturday, September 16th, go to portgambleparanormal.com. You can just click on the image there. I will be changing the image probably tonight because I found I had a typo in it. So,
I missed that too. So like,
yeah. So, but just go to portgambleparanormal.com, or if you follow Joanne the Psychic on Facebook, or if you follow me on Facebook, Paranormal Pete Show, or just look up Port Gamble Paranormal and you'll find me. It'll be all over there. You can get tickets through Eventbrite. Like I said, it's $40 and it starts at 1:30. We'll take a dinner break from 5 to 6:30, and then we come back after dinner and do a group reading for everybody. Probably may not run all the way until 8, but usually an hour and a half is good, up to an hour and a half for a group reading. And then we'll call it a day. And Dr. Kelly is saying the good show. She'll introduce herself at the conference. So
thank
she'll
you.
come up and meet you. But thanks again, Joanne. Next week.
Thank you so much, Pete.
You're very welcome. And I'm honored to have you on. I'm honored to do this workshop with you. It's really cool. I'm so excited. Next week, I hope everybody tunes in. We've got Meg and Raina from the Lunatic Soup podcast coming on, and they're going to be taking my ghost walk on the 11th. But they've got a lot of really interesting stories. And then the week after that, I've got Mr. Jim Clarkson coming on the show. And he's probably sitting just out of view there. Always enjoy talking to Jim and all the knowledge and experience that he brings to the table. And then the week after that, I've got Karen Fraser, psychic medium, author, and does remote viewing and Reiki. She is a busy lady, just like you are, Joanne. And if you didn't meet her last year, I'll have to make sure and introduce you guys at the conference.
Sounds really familiar. I think I did meet her.
Okay. Well, you guys definitely have to meet. Yeah. But so stay tuned, guys. We'll see you next week. Again, thanks, Joanne. And my closing toast, as always, the past is history. The future's a mystery. But today's a gift because it's the present. Because we all need that little reminder, right? That, take time to be present each day. If you can't, each week, do something where you're there in the moment. We're all so busy. Be there in the moment. When someone's talking to you, be there, listen and respond back. Be with the ones you love, be there with them. Quit thinking about what you should have done yesterday and what you could do tomorrow, but be there in the moment. So there's your weekly reminder to take some time to be present. And with that, Joanne and Jim in the background, we'll wish you guys a good rest of the week. And we'll see everybody next week here on the Paranormal Pete Show on WLTK-DB.com. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Take care, Pete.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.